Chapter 1. The Chance and the Key. Year 2145. The world had transformed into a network of neon-lit megacities, interwoven with vast areas of technological debris. Neo-Tokyo, the largest and most impressive of them all, was a spectacle of skyscrapers piercing the clouds and airways congested with drones. Holographic billboards floated above the city, proclaiming powerful corporate slogans and advertisements saying, "Bitcoin, the currency of freedom, the promise of the future." For many, this was a golden era, but for others, like Alex Carter, it was an unforgiving world. At 21, Alex was more than just a survivor. He was a tech prodigy. Since losing his parents in a mysterious accident at 14, he had lived in the digital underworld, where intelligence and cunning were the only currencies that truly mattered. Alex's apartment was an organized mess, a tiny space in an old building that had once been a cargo warehouse. Wires hung from the ceiling, monitors were stacked on makeshift shelves, and circuit parts were scattered across the table. The bluish light from the screen illuminated Alex's pale face, accentuating his restless eyes. He was tall and thin, with disheveled hair and a thin scar on his left eyebrow, a souvenir from a clash with cyber guards during a corporate server breach. That night, the atmosphere was particularly tense. Lightning slashed through the sky, and rain drummed against the windows like impatient fingers. Alex felt a growing unease he couldn't quite explain. He leaned back in his metal swivel chair, listening to the sounds of the city that never slept. Flying cars buzzed by, and voices in various languages echoed from the street below. "What did you hide, Satoshi?" he muttered, adjusting his quantum simulation. Alex had studied all the theories about Satoshi Nakamoto's wallets, legends told by the olden bars and debated by the young in secret forums. They said Satoshi foresaw everything, that he left traps and secrets hidden within the blockchain to protect his legacy. The simulation Alex used was a project he had built himself from algorithms scavenged from dark networks, enhanced with second-hand hardware. He pressed enter, and the scan began. Lines of code scrolled down the screen like a torrent, encrypted symbols dancing before his eyes. As time passed, Alex thought about how he had gotten there. The sleepless nights, the technical challenges he had overcome, the stories of hackers who had tried and failed to decipher Satoshi's codes. He didn't believe he would fare any better, but the pursuit of the impossible was what drove him. Something about the myth drew him in, an unbreakable riddle. Minutes turned into hours, and dawn crept through the gaps in the blinds. Sleep threatened to overtake him, but he resisted. When the first rays of an unseen sun began to stain the horizon, a sharp sound broke the silence. It was the simulation's alert. Alex sat up suddenly, eyes fixed on the screen. A numerical sequence appeared, highlighted. It was long and complex, unlike anything he had seen before. His heart raced, and he wiped his sweaty hands on his shirt before typing the sequence into a blockchain explorer. Each keystroke seemed to echo through the room, amplified by the adrenaline now coursing through his veins. "This can't be real," he whispered as the cursor blinked. The verification process felt like an eternity. When the response finally appeared, the confirmation hit him like a punch to the gut. The wallet was active, and in it, an unimaginable amount of Bitcoin. Alex leaned back, a mix of euphoria and terror on his face. What did this mean? Why? His hands trembled, and he could barely process the magnitude of the situation. It was as if he held the fate of the world in his hands. Before he could think of his next move, a red glow appeared on the screen. A message began to form slowly, letter by letter. "You have been watched." The words pulsed, menacing and cold. Alex felt his breath catch. He turned to the window, where the rain still poured heavily. There was something sinister in the silence that enveloped the room, as if the world had held its breath along with him. The city, with all its lights and sounds, felt distant, almost unreal. He knew he was no longer alone. Something had been triggered, and the legend